with Kip's Corner. Welcome back. And if you are new, welcome. I am between journals right now. I just finished and recently posted the flip through video of Secrets that looks like this if you haven't seen it. And I'm sorry, I'm really close, and so that's like in your face, but you'll see why I'm really close in just a minute. Anyway, I'm between journals. Secrets is finished, and it is up on my Etsy shop. And so I thought I would come on and spend just a couple of minutes sharing with you what I know about wax pastes, which isn't a lot, but enough to perhaps shed some light for some of you. There are two different brands that I like to use. One is called Gilder's Paste Wax. That's one brand. And the other is by Prima Marketing, and it's Finnabair's Art Alchemy Wax Pastes. There's several different lines within that. Can you see that? And that's what I'm going to talk mostly about. Anyway, yeah. So what I've got here is a bunch of embossed pieces of paper. These are black. This is, it's smooth, it feels almost like velvet paper. It's really cool paper. And I have just a huge stack of it from a project from about 15 years ago. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to pull some of those out, run them through my embossing folder. And then these are sheets from a paper sample pack. And so they're all different textures and weight. And, you know, they have writing on them and stuff. And so I ran those through the embossing folder as well so that I could show you some of these waxes. I don't have all of them. I think I've got 20 some odd different ones, which is nowhere near all of them. But I hope anyway that I have enough to show you some of the differences between these wax and how they react. Wax paste can be used as a highlight color around the edges. You can take metal pieces and completely change the color of them with wax paste. If you see on the front of Secrets, most of the pieces in here, I used a gold wax paste on. Anything that wasn't, like this flower right here, right that I'm pointing at, was silver. So I painted it with black gesso and then used a gold on top of it and did that to several pieces in here. So you can do that with pieces in your mixed media work. You can, there are a lot of possibilities. You can take a whole sheet like this and completely color it if you want to. Wax pastes are wax, and when you're putting them on top, and at least with the Prima Marketing or the Finnabair line, and I think the Gilder's wax paste is the same way, it actually creates a seal. So in the case where I painted it first with black gesso and then put the wax on top, that sealed it in. When it's completely dry, it is a sealant. So it's great fun to use, great fun to play with. And so what I'm going to do is show you, I think first I'll show you very quickly the Gilder's wax paste, just the colors that I have. And the reason is because they're pretty, there's nothing fancy, well, I mean, you know, they're fancy colors, they're gorgeous. There's nothing unusual or unique about the way these react to blacks and whites, but there are with some of the Finnabair waxes. So let me just flip through these first, and I'm just going to show you, this is cream, and the Gilder's wax paste is a pretty heavy, thick, almost feels sometimes like it's dry. Let me get these out of my way so I can pick up one at a time and work a little simple but easier. And so this is cream, and so cream is going to be the prettiest on black. You can use wax paste. I just usually use my finger. I feel like that gives me a little bit more control over what I'm doing. But you could also use an old paintbrush or a stiff, like a stiff stencil brush. If you use a brush, be sure to use one that you're not planning to use, you know, for really anything else, because they are just by nature of wax. So I'm going to put this a little heavier up here at the top. You can see how that's picking up that embossing. And now let's just do some very light. I think it's easier to go on with a very light. I mean, I'm barely brushing my finger over the surface here. And that's cream. So it looks, you know, almost white. So you see? A little heavier here, a little lighter here. So it's picking up that embossing beautifully. It would also work the same, of course, on texture paste. embossing, just creating several embossing folders was, I'm gonna grab some wipes here, pardon the crinkling sound. Just running this through an embossing folder was a lot quicker and easier than doing a bunch of texture paste on these. And I did not, by the way, put any gesso on this paper. So this is straight onto the paper. All right, that's cream. That is a color, an example of a color that is going to be designed for darker bases, darker background. Okay, so that's cream. Cream is also really good to use as a highlight color. Okay, next up is just gonna be just the opposite, and it's black. And my black is, you see it's all crumbly? It still works, it's fine. But I'm gonna put some black on, this is a sort of an ivory or a cream colored sheet. And again, I'm going very, very lightly. I think with wax paste, my best advice is to build as you go. Start light, and if you want it heavier, you can certainly go heavier. You can see I'm going a lot heavier here and a lot lighter over here. So that's black, and black is black, of course. Nothing fancy there. We're gonna start simple and work our way up. I'm not gonna even put black on this because it would not make sense. It definitely would not show up. This is one of my favorite. It's gorgeous. It's called German Silver. And it's a little creamier than the black. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful color. And I put it on pretty heavy there. So let me go a little lighter over here. And I'll come back over and go heavy here. And we'll go a little lighter here. So that's, see, that's German Silver, heavy and light, and it is a little bit creamier. Some of them are a little creamier and some of them are a little drier. I've never had one dried out that I couldn't use. This kind of, the German Silver brings on a bit of a more of a brownish tone, a very subtle, let's see if you can get in there. There you go. A subtle brown on a, this is kind of a cream colored, ivory colored paper. Okay, this is Patina. This is absolutely one of my favorite colors. I love it. And it also is sort of dry like my black is. It's just fine. It works just fine. And, oops, I had something on my finger. I use Patina a lot on the edge of some of my mixed media tags to give it an aged, a patina look. I also will use this patina on, if I have a rust piece, just a tiny little bit, just a hint of patina around the edge of the rust, just to give it a little bit of a little color. And so there's the patina from Gilder's Wax Paste. Beautiful color. All right, next up, I'm gonna show you, I have 3 more of these colors that I will show you. It's a gray with a hint of blue, and it may not come across on camera with a hint of blue, but it is, it's a beautiful, and here's on black. It's a beautiful color. Okay, that's Slate. Next up, I've got 2 more of the Gilder's Wax Paste colors, and then I'll move on and start talking about the Finnabair waxes. This is, what is this? This is Rust. Rust is another one that I like to use a lot. So there's your Rust, heavy and light, and there's your Rust there. So, okay, one more. All right, so these are just, like I said, these are just some standard colors, and I don't have a ton of them, but I have enough to keep me busy. I have enough to find what I need when I'm looking for it. Okay, this is copper, and copper is beautiful on black. And my copper is a little, takes a little bit more for it to, you can kind of feel it getting on your finger, you can tell, but it is gorgeous. And let me just do a light coat. And copper is another one that is a nice accent color. So here it is on black, in a heavier hand and lighter hand. You can see that. And then here it is on white. It's a little more of a brownish color. Black. And so if I wanted to have copper, you know, like on the Secrets Journal, I did the front of that. Those pieces are all in a gold. And any piece I had that wasn't already gold, I turned it gold. And I actually used, I think I used a Firebird. But if I wanted a copper, you know, a copper look or a copper accent, that's a color where I would start with a black gesso. If I'm using patina, I don't say on a mixed media tag, I don't even always gesso that at all. You can go directly to the paper, depending on how thick your paper is. Keep in mind that it is wax, and if your hand is heavy, you might sort of go through the paper, so you do have to be careful. All right, I want to separate these. So Metalique wax was really the beginning of the wax, paste wax line from Firebird. That's different. So what they are, let's see, is their metals. So what I have here, I have old silver, rose gold, bronze age, bronzed iron, and vintage gold. Those are the 5 metals that I have. And these labels, these are all the same company, but this is the vintage gold is my newest one, and it's the newest label. Now, what Firebird is in the process of doing is switching out these metal tins for these tubes. And the reason they're doing that, is my understanding, is that they believe that the tube, the wax inside will last longer and be less likely to dry out in the tubes than it will be in the metal containers. So anything that I have in a metal container just hasn't switched over yet, or I haven't, you know, like some of this. I think old silver and rose gold are my 2 oldest ones, and I use them a lot. And you can see I still have, you can tell there's a nice dent in there, but there's a ton left. So let's take a look at these. This is beautiful, this silver. Absolutely gorgeous. It puts a beautiful silver. That's light. Let me get a little heavier handed. And the Metalique waxes are going to have a metal sheen to them. They're going to look like metal when you've used them on whatever you're using them on. Beautiful on black and on white, not as pretty, but it still has a metal. Let me get a little heavier here. You're still getting that metal look, and you're getting that metal sheen, if you will. It's probably the best way to describe it. And so here we go. Here's the old silver. Is it old silver? Yeah, old silver. You see, it's gorgeous. This is probably, it's my favorite. Hands down, silver's my favorite. Heavier hand and lighter hand. Excuse me. And then here it is, and you can see if I'm catching that sheen that you get. Looks like a piece of metal, and that's on white. A little heavier over here and lighter over here. This is rose gold. It is also a beautiful color. If I can get it open. And if I were putting this on a dimensional piece, you know, like a piece of metal or a piece of plastic that I was going to use in a collage, mixed media collage piece, I would definitely use my hands. But I know, there you go. Isn't that pretty? Gorgeous, gorgeous color. That's on white, and here it is on black. So you're getting that beautiful sheen, and it really, I love the Metaliques, all the metal colors. This is gold. Let's put this on this is kind of an ivory. This is an ivory colored, and this, of course, is my black. Now I've got 2, no, I don't have 2 that are close. This gold of mine is very creamy. So the creamier they are, the easier it is to get a heavy hand, too heavy. Sometimes it just, because you get more on your finger faster, if that makes sense. So let me go heavier here. And then over here, let me get a heavier hand over here. Am I on camera? So here's my heavy side, and here's my light side. And on the heavy, when I do the heavy side, I'm just pushing down harder. Little bit goes a long way on all of these. Little bit just goes a really long way. Okay, here is the gold. Beautiful again. There's that metal shine. And here it is, the gold on black. Heavy hand on one side, a lighter hand on the other. You can see the difference. Okay, that's vintage gold is what that's called. They have another gold too. They, you know, obviously I do not have anywhere near all of the colors. I may someday. Okay, this is called brushed iron, and it is similar to the silver, but it is it's more of an iron. It's not as, well, here, I'll pull the silver out and we can compare it. All right. This is the, what did I say? The brushed iron. This is the brushed iron on black and the heavy side and a little bit of a lighter side, although that looks very close to the same, but you can see. And this is the brushed iron on, this is kind of an ivory. There's the heavy and the light. Now let's compare. You see the brushed iron is darker. This is the brushed iron. Let's see if my light is shining correctly on here. Here we go. This is the brushed iron and this is the old silver. See the difference? And here, this is the brushed iron. And this is the old silver. So they're very similar, but they are different, and they are going to react differently to different substrates and different things that you're doing. Okay, next up, let's play with Bronze Age. All right. The reason I like using my hand is I feel like it's easier for me to control the light and the heavy over a brush. There are also people who I've seen who suggest, you know, not dipping your finger directly into your wax so as to not contaminate it. That's not bad advice, but, and you can do whatever you want. I've never had a problem with my waxes getting contaminated. That doesn't mean that I won't someday, but I don't pull it out. I feel like that's wasteful. If I dip out and put it on a workspace and then use it, I'm not going to want to try to put it back in. And so I feel like that's wasteful. All right, here's your Bronze Age. And here it is on black. Okay, so those are the metals, the metallique metals. And they're your standard metals, you know, rose gold, silver, gold, bronze, iron. Then there's also this particular one. I have actually not used this yet. This is called Firebird. And it is also a metallique wax. But it's not, I mean, there's not a metal called Firebird. But if you look at the container here, it's got a metal sheen to it. And so Firebird is going to look like this. And it's very creamy. Now, if you dip your hand into wax and you get too much on it, all you have to do is take a paper off to the side and just tap it off, just like you would a stamp. If you have, you know, if you're afraid you have too much ink on your stamp, just tap some of it off, and then you can go back. This is going to be beautiful on this black. I want to try to get it. There we go. Gorgeous. Beautiful color. Beautiful color. Now let's go real heavy. So this is still a metallique wax, but I'm not aware of a metal that is called Firebird. So it's not a true, you know, it's not a replication of a true metal, if that makes sense, whereas the others are. So it just depends on what you're looking for, what kind of project you're doing. This paper that I'm using on this white side, this particular sample sheet has a texture in the background. almost like a little bit of a linen texture. And so you can see it coming through, which is really pretty too. Okay, I like that color a lot for, depending on what you're using. That would be a really pretty color to use in a boho journal. But here it is on black. This is my heavy side, of course, and this is just my light hand over here, just a highlight. Pretty color. And here it is in all its vibrancy on white. You can see the texture of the paper in there in that background. There you go. Pretty color. That's called, oops, I just got wax on the side there. That's called Firebird. Okay, now let's talk about some of the magic things that can happen with the Finnabair waxes. And this is where you have to be careful when you're buying them. I have some wax on my table here because I'm a messy. Okay, first up I've got Antique Brilliance. Antique Brilliance, and I've only got two, let's see. That's not true. There's one. Faded. Oh, that's Opal. These are matte. These are matte. Okay. I've only got 3 Antique Brilliance colors. Antique Brilliance is really going to show you its beautiful colors on black. But let me show you what happens first. Let's start with Lucky Emerald. When you use Antique Brilliance on white, this is the magic part, it's going to give you an antique effect. So the color is not going to be a vibrant, in this case, emerald. It's going to be a brownish antiquing look with a hint of that emerald in it. And it's gonna have, I'm gonna go heavier here. And you can see as I rub it, it's really not a vibrant, you look at my tin and you think, oh, that's gonna be this dark, vibrant color. On white, it's not. But you see how it had, you can see the brown coming through? That's the antique part, but yet there's a sheen there, you see it? Of the emerald green. And it is really pretty, but it is going to react completely different. Now watch the magic when you go on black. And boom. It has that metal shine to it like your Metallique waxes, regular Metalliques do, but it's vibrant, beautiful colors. And I don't even know if I could go light on this with my hand. It's a very creamy wax. And now you have this beautiful, isn't that gorgeous? It's just a gorgeous color on black, but it's more of a brownish sort of antique-y color with a shimmer of the green on white. So that's Antique Brilliance. That's the emerald green. And this is Mystic Turquoise, which is gorgeous. Both of these are older. You can tell by my labels. I've had them for a while. They're both older colors that have been around. Antique Brilliance might have been the second type of wax in her series, and she might have actually come out with them about the same time. So again, here it is on white. And it's still really pretty, depending on your use and what you're using it. But me, I would use this. And as a matter of fact, I may use this turquoise, what's it called? Mystic Turquoise. It's a beautiful blue. Love the color. I may use this on the cover of the next journal I get started on. I don't know. I'm still trying to decide. We'll see. But there you go. On black, isn't that gorgeous? So you've got that metal sort of shine, but it's this beautiful, beautiful color that does magical things on darker substrates than it does on lighter substrates. But you can see, if I can get that turned You can see a hint, there you go, of that turquoise on the white as well. So one more color here in the Antique Brilliance line. And this is a new color for me. You can tell because it's in the tube. This is Amethyst. Amethyst Magic, not just Amethyst, but Amethyst Magic. Okay, here's white, here's black. And this will be, I think in the tube, I'm gonna have to get used to it. It will be a little harder for me because I'm used to sort of just dipping my finger in. It will be harder for me to play with not getting too much on my finger like there. I just feel like I had way too much. And again, a little bit goes a long way. Oh, that's pretty too. Gorgeous. Okay, and here it is on white. Yeah, I'll have to play with that. On these tubes, I may actually end up squishing it out first. I don't know, we'll see. The tubes I just recently got. I knew they were coming. I think one of these tubes I've had, but I hadn't really purchased much by way of tubes. Where's my wipey here? Okay, Amethyst Magic on white, and you'll see as I turn it, there's a hint of that amethyst color, which is really pretty, but it is antiquing. Again, that's why they're called antique. Antique Brilliance is the name of the line. But then on black, you get the Brilliant color. Ooh, that's pretty. That's so pretty. Now, here's the other thing about waxes. You can mix and match them. So I could, for example, I could mix this blue and this purple on together. Well, let's do it. Let's just do it. Antique Brilliance. So let's say I want the center of my piece to be blue. And I'm just gonna do sort of a blue circle here. And let's say I wanna blend that out to a purple. All right. So let's blend those together. Blend it out to purple. Oops, see, I got too much on my finger there. It's a learning curve, definitely. I highly recommend, especially, ooh, now let's put some more, hang on, I'm getting excited. This is so pretty. Now let's put some more blue on. Let's put some more blue here and blend it in to that purple. There you go. That's two colors blended together. And hopefully you can see how pretty that is. So imagine a mixed media piece where you've got, say, texture paste on the background and you do that just on the background. It's very magical, very unicorn sort of cool magical. Okay, that's Antique Brilliance. That's the Antique Brilliance line. So you've got your metallique metals, metallique colors that have a metal sheen to them, but they're not necessarily true metals. Like the Firebird is an orange, and there isn't, to my knowledge, a metal called Firebird. Then you have Antique Brilliance. Antique Brilliance is going to give you an antiqued finish on white and a vibrant, beautiful metal color on black, okay? All right. Next in the line of the waxes is called Opal Magic. Now, Opal Magic is going to give you a sheen that is opalescent. That makes, is that a word? Yeah, that's a word. So it's going to have that pearly opal color. And this is blue velvet. Now, it is going to be the same type of reaction that your Antique Brilliance line does on white versus black. On white, it's not going to react much, But it has very much like a mermaid's tail sort of opalescence to it. And I'll hold that out to the camera in just a second. You may not be able to see it from where you are. But on black, and again, this is blue velvet, you're gonna get that beautiful. So if you buy Antique Brilliance or Opal Magic, invest in some black gesso. Beautiful. And either on black or white, it has that opal-y effervescent. There you go. See? Isn't that pretty? It's really pretty. It's just very, it's got a lot of different colors in it, even though it's purple, because it's got that, just like an opal, a true opal stone. And then here it is on black. See? Very pretty. Pretty color. All right. Now to what I believe, and don't quote me on this, but I believe this is the newest line of waxes. And these are matte finish waxes. They are truly going to have a matte finish to them, which is nice. So let's take a look at the colors I have. These are all new. I have not used any of these yet. I just got them. Faded Denim. And oops, that's squished out. Let's see. Let me tap that off somewhere. A piece of solid paper. There we go. There we go. All right, here we go. That color, it just, my tube is, let me put the lid on real quick. It's oozing. It's oozing on me. Okay, here we go. What did I say? Faded Denim. So Faded Denim in the matte line, the matte wax line, is going to be the color of your tube, no matter whether you put it on a white or a black. So let's go a little lighter handed over here. Although I really didn't do lighter handed. And let's do a little, now let's do it on black. So you're going to see, in this case, your color is going to be affected by what's underneath it. The heavier you get it. And then in a lighter hand, well, that's not lighter hand. What are you doing, Deb? There you go. Lighter hand here. And it has this matte, you're not getting the sheen. And this is actually a lot like some of my Gilder's wax, especially like the slate, where it's a little bit more of a flat matte color. This is Faded Denim on black, and then here it is on white. Pretty color. On both, actually. But this almost takes on a slate color on the black. But it's matte. It's not going to have sheen and shine to it. And same thing with these waxes, with all of the waxes. These are all blendable, and you can intermix across lines too. You're not going to hurt anything by doing that. That's got something on it. Oh, there it goes. Okay, this is also, so these last ones are all matte. And this is Sage Leaves. Again, I just got this. And you can get a nice solid coverage on your background or whatever you're creating, whether it's on the background or the foreground, using these. And they're very creamy, and they want to, okay. Sage Leaves here. And you can see how, even with the light, as I'm moving it, like some of the other waxes, there's not really a sheen or a shine. It is a matte color. And here's the same color on black. So there you go. Sage Leaves. Let me show you two more. And I hope this has been helpful. I know I don't have every color. There are a ton of colors in both of these lines, and they are all absolutely gorgeous colors. This one is French Lavender, which you know that's going to be pretty. Just the word French Lavender is a pretty word. That's a little heavy. You kind of can't see the embossing, but you get the idea. That's lavender on black. French Lavender, excuse me. And French Lavender on white. Beautiful, beautiful color. One more. This is called Shabby Pink. And Shabby Pink. So down here, I thought I would put such a little amount on my finger. You can see how even I'm hardly touching that. You can still see how it picks up the embossing on the embossing folder. So this is Shabby Pink on black and Shabby Pink on white. Pretty color, very pretty color. Okay, so I hope this has been helpful. Remember, the Finnabair Art Alchemy line of waxes by Prima Marketing, you have to be careful. You do have different lines and they react differently depending on your base color. You've got matte wax, you've got Opal Magic, Antique Brilliance, Metallique, the metals and Metallique colors. And then there are other companies out there as well, like Gilder's Wax Paste, that has, I haven't even scratched the surface on the colors available there. And again, in all your standard waxes, but your standard colors as well. Everything from light creams and whites all the way to black and everything in between. So that, I hope, was helpful. And I hope that you think about using waxes. I'm actually going to use wax on, I have a project, my next journal, I have a resin piece that I'm going to use on the front that I'll be waxing, and I'll probably have some texture in the background as well. So I will try to record that, and yeah, and that's it. So until then, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. And more to come. Bye-bye.